So how does Layla compare to the other shielders in the game? Is she actually a good viable new shielder, or is she just a new 4-star character that pretends to do something but isn't actually viable? In this video we're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at how much shield potential she has and what other abilities she offers, and we're going to also compare her to the other shielders or like competition for her in the game right now. And we're going to decide if she's worth pulling for and you should use her, or is she just another like bullshit 4-star character. So yeah, without further ado, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's begin. So right now I'm just going to quickly go through every single shield character we have right now. I'm going to tell you like their properties, what they have and what they offer. And then we're going to compare them to Layla. So the shielders we have right now are going to be Xinyan, Yanfei, Diona, zhongli, and Noelle. These are the main shield characters we have on the game right now. So starting off with Noelle, her average shield strength is going to be around 12k to 15k. And when I say that, I'm talking like an average Noelle and an average build, and it depends. But generally speaking, Noelle's shield is going to be like 12k to 15k, obviously depending on the investments, how much defense you have, stuff like that, but it's gonna be in that range. Her shield duration is gonna be 12 seconds, but the cooldown of her elemental skill is gonna be 24 seconds, so the uptime is gonna be very bad. So we're gonna have a full 12 seconds of downtime, which means a 50% uptime on her shield. Additional features for Noelle, I guess she heals, so that's a plus if you need that. So that's about it for Noelle. Her shield strength is kinda good, but the main problem is with the shield uptime. You're gonna have a 50% uptime on her shield, which doesn't really make it that good. That's why I wouldn't really recommend using Noelle as like a dedicated shielder, because you literally wouldn't have a shield like half of the time. We have Diona. Diona's shield strength is gonna range from 9k to 11k. Again, that's like a rough estimate, but generally speaking, this is what a Diona shield is gonna look like. 9k to 11k as like an average. It might be a little more, maybe a little less, but this is like the range. Her shield duration is gonna be 12 seconds depending on how many like balls it hits. Generally, you're gonna hit all of the 5s, so we're gonna just say 12 seconds. Her skills cooldown when you hold, which what you want to do, is gonna be 15 seconds, so we're gonna have 3 seconds of downtime, which is not really that bad, but you still wouldn't have like a full uptime on her shield. Additional features for Diona: she heals, so you can also use her as a healer. She's gonna be a great battery if you're using her in like cryo teams, and also if you have her C6, she's gonna be a good EM buffer. Diona is like a decent shielder in the game right now, especially for like free to plays and stuff like that. She's easy to build, easy to use, and has like multiple features. Her biggest problem in my opinion is her shield. It's not really super bad, but it's not like great either in my opinion. It doesn't have a full uptime, and also the shield strength isn't really that strong, so her shield is not like super good, but it's still usable and you can use her in any team. Now moving on to Xinyan. Her shield strength is going to be around 7k to 9k, which is very low. Shield duration is going to be 12 seconds with a 6 seconds of downtime, because her skills cooldown is going to be 18 seconds. So that's not really great either. She doesn't have a full uptime shield. And also the shield strength is going to depend on like if you hit 3 enemies or something like that. I'm not really sure, but it's definitely not comfortable too. That's going to be fixed if you have her C2, I think, but generally speaking at C0, you cannot really rely on Xinyan for a shield. Additional features for Xinyan: she's gonna be a great sub DPS, and she's gonna be a great buffer for physical damage characters. As a shielder only, I definitely don't think Xinyan is gonna be reliable, especially if you don't have her C2. She's definitely not gonna be viable as like a full dedicated shielder. Her shield is just like a bonus, you can say. It doesn't have a full uptime, it's not strong enough, and you're gonna also have like some complications on even getting the full shield. Now we have Yanfei. So Yanfei's shield strength is going to be around 13k to 15k, again depending on like the build and stuff like that, and that's if you build her as like a dedicated shielder, by the way. If you build her as a DPS, her shield is going to be much weaker. It's going to have a 15 seconds duration, and it's going to have a 5 seconds of downtime, because her elemental burst is going to have 20 seconds of cooldown, and 5 seconds I would say at least if you're lucky, if you have enough energy recharge. If you cannot get your burst at a good uptime, you're going to have more downtime, obviously. I wouldn't really say Yanfei offers anything else besides her shield, but yeah, I mean technically on paper she has a very good shield, one of the top strongest in the game, but the problem is, the main problem is that you're gonna need C4 to get the shield in the first place. Without C4 she doesn't have any shield, so if you don't have C4 Yanfei, you cannot use her as a shielder. Also if you build her as a shielder, you're gonna have to focus on building her for a shield, and that's gonna put you on like split scaling. You're not gonna be able to build her for damage and stuff like that, which is not good too. Also another problem is that her shield is gonna gonna come from her elemental burst, and her elemental burst is gonna cost 80 energy. So to have a good uptime on her elemental burst, you're gonna have to build a lot of energy recharge, like 200 plus, and obviously that's gonna be hard too, to maintain like HP, energy recharge and stuff like that. That can be pretty hard. And even with that, you won't have like a full uptime, you're still gonna have 5 seconds of downtime. So for Yanfei's shield, I mean, it's good on like strength wise, even on uptime wise, it's still pretty good. It's not like super bad. It's only 5 seconds of downtime, but I would say it's super clunky because you have to use it from her elemental burst. Also, she's pyro, so she's not really that universal. She might interfere with like many reactions and stuff like that. And also, as I said, because it's from her elemental burst, you're gonna have to maintain a good energy recharge. If you don't, her shield is gonna be very clunky and you're not gonna have a good uptime. Also, you're gonna need C4 for it to work in the first place, which a lot of people maybe don't have, so you're not gonna be able to use her anyways. So like as I said, her shield on paper is good technically, but when it comes to like practical use, she's not really that good for like a shield. And now finally, before Layla, we're gonna have the big man zhongli. So zhongli's shield is gonna be around 20k to 25k, which is obviously the strongest shield in the game. Also is Geo, so his shield is gonna have 150% damage absorption. If he wasn't Geo, it's gonna be only 100%, but since it's a Geo shield, all of the elements are gonna be absorbed by 150% capacity, which is pretty good. His shield is gonna be increased even more. His shield is gonna last for 20 seconds, a full 20 seconds. There's absolutely 0 seconds of downtime. Technically, it's minus 8 seconds of downtime because his shield is gonna last for 20 seconds and the skill's cooldown is 12 seconds. Additional features for zhongli, you're gonna have the resistance shred, which is the most important thing. So the shield is gonna increase your character's damage. We're gonna have some easy extra sub DPS damage with your elemental burst, and you're also gonna have the petrification, which freezes the enemies when you do your elemental burst, which can actually be pretty good. So yeah, without talking too much, zhongli is definitely the best shielder in the game right now. It's the standard best shield in the game. That's why I said before in a video, you're gonna have to get zhongli, in my opinion. He's a must pull only for his shield. He's gonna be very comfortable to play, you know, full uptime, you don't have to worry about that, and a very good utility set. He's also very flexible because he's Geo, so you can use him in pretty much any team. Okay, so these are our shielders in the game right now. Now finally moving on to Layla. So Layla's shield is gonna range from 10k to around like 18k. This is a wide range, but it definitely depends on how you'd want to build Layla. If you want to build her more as like a main DPS maybe, and you don't want to focus on her shield is gonna be around like 10k, you can say. But if you focus on building her as like a dedicated shielder, full HP, no crit, like tenacity of the middle, stuff like that, in that case it might reach like 18k or maybe a little less, a little more, but it's gonna be around that. So yeah, it kind of like depends on the build, but generally speaking, that's the range. The shield is gonna last for 12 seconds and it's gonna have full uptime. You're technically not gonna have any seconds of downtime. The shield is gonna last for 12 seconds and her elemental skills cooldown is gonna be 12 seconds too. You might have like a couple of seconds, stuff like that, if you don't switch very quick. So it's not like as comfortable as zhongli, but you're technically gonna have 100% uptime with her shield, which is very, very good because we didn't see that on any 4-star. So she's already bringing something good to the game. Additional features for Layla, she's gonna have a great off-field damage. You know, she does damage with her elemental burst and skill, and the damage is also gonna scale off of your HP. So there's like no split scaling, just build HP, maybe some crit and stuff like that, and you're gonna have a great shield and also some damage. You're gonna have decent cryo application if you need that. Obviously that might be a problem if the team like mines cryo application, if it like messes with your reactions and stuff like that, but it's a good thing in a lot of teams like freeze team, melt teams, stuff like that. And lastly, if you have her C4, the auto attacks buff is gonna be very, very good. It's gonna buff the character having the shield, it's gonna buff his auto attacks, and it's actually a very decent buff. So yeah, if you have her C4, that's gonna be a very good additional feature too, and it's gonna open up a lot of teams. So how does Layla compare to the other shielders in the game? So starting off with zhongli, I think she's definitely worse than zhongli. Obviously he's a 5-star, she's a 4-star, so it's kind of like expected. He simply has like a better shield, a stronger shield, more uptime, and he's more like comfortable to use, and he has, in my opinion, like a better set of utility with like resistance shreds and stuff like that. So zhongli is definitely a better option. So yeah, she's not gonna kill zhongli, that's for sure. Now for the rest of the 5-stars, stars, I would eliminate pretty much all of them. She is better than almost all of them, except for maybe Diona. Her only competition in my opinion is gonna be maybe Diona, because all of the other 4 stars, as I explained before, they're gonna have some problem that's not gonna allow them to be like a full dedicated good shielder. For example, Xinyan, a weak shield, Noelle, a very bad uptime, yanfei, you need C4 and also a lot of energy recharge, and you're gonna need the burst, so it's a very clunky shield. All of these problems are not gonna allow them to be like full dedicated comfortable shielders. In my opinion, for a good shielder in the game that makes the game like actually comfortable, you're gonna need 100% uptime or at least close to that, and he needs to be like easy to use. You know, switch, tap, and that's it. You don't have to use like the burst, collect energy, stuff like that. That's not really gonna be viable. So as I said, the only competition in my opinion is gonna be maybe Diona, since Diona is also easy to use and she has kind of a good uptime on her shield. Now for Diona versus Layla, I would say they're kind of like more different in a way. It's not like a direct comparison. You cannot really compare them like directly. They do like different things, you can say, but generally speaking, sis in this video we're comparing the shields, a better uptime, and generally a stronger shield. She also deals more damage than Diona, so that's a plus. Now Diona has her own advantages. She heals, which you might need in a team. You know, she can fill in the shielder and the healer slot at the same time, which Layla cannot do. She can also be used like as a better battery in my opinion, which Layla can do too, but she's not as good as Diona. So yeah, they have like kind of like different things. You have to pick and choose between them depending on what you need. But yeah, for the final conclusion, is Layla a good character? I would say absolutely yes. She has the second strongest shield in the game right now, technically, if you invest in her shield. 100% uptime, which we didn't see on any 4-star character before. So her shield is already pretty good if you need a shielder on your team and you don't have zhongli. And also with some extra off-field damage, a decent cryo application, she definitely fits in pretty well right now. I would say she's definitely a good character. She didn't really disappoint at all. At least for her job, she definitely does her job fine, which is being a shielder. So yeah, she's good. If you don't have zhongli and you need a shielder, you definitely should use her in my opinion. So yeah, that was the video guys. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If you want to say anything, leave it in the comments, and see y'all in the next video. Peace.